going on, guys? Welcome to the shop. This is kind of a follow-up to the last episode, the Hacker Boxes 32. The premise of that box was a lock sport, and it came with this set of lock picks. And you know, some people are new to this and may not even know that they need to be tuned up and polished really before you start using them to get the best effect out of them, because you know they have sharp corners at the moment. Just kind of give you an idea. Oh, that's great. Okay, like I was saying before the air conditioner came on, the point to this is, like, this is a W rake that came out of there, and you know, if you're trying to pick, you're not really going to see this on the video that much, but I can feel it, you know, sticking to the pins. You know, it's just it's I should say it's grabbing, not, but it feels like it's sticking to them. And it's hard to get out and stuff. This is one of my trusty Peterson W Rakes. It's already been tuned up and polished, and I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference or not, but it just kind of glides in, you know, and it just glides right over the pins. It doesn't stick to them. And I'm kind of using this W rake. It's more of a kinetic rake, but I kind of like use it like a city rake a lot of times, and I just kind of rock it and vary the tension on it, and you know, bring it in and out. Now it's not going to open there, guys. But you're really supposed to use it for like a kinetic tool for zipping, which, you know, just like that. But so basically I'm going to take this W rake and show you how to polish it up. But before I say that, I mean, this is a pretty decent kit as far as, like, I mean, you got a lot of different tools in here, you know, but I mean, it's not the greatest quality, but it's a great starter kit. The one thing that I really don't like about it is just, like, you know, the wrench selection. These things are just terrible. You'll probably never use them, and there's really only two thicknesses. I mean, these are okay, but like this one is it's too small to really get in there. It'll, you know, when it's like that, a lot of times it'll wedge. So what I like to do is I like to make my own custom wrenches, and that way I can get them in angles and heights and depths and stuff that fit the lock. Like, you know, for instance, this lock, if you know, I made this is tempered wire, straight wire, and I just bend it, and it fits perfectly in there, and it's deep enough, because this is really deep, so you can do top or bottom of keyway depending on what you want to do. But you can make, you know, a lot of custom wrenches quite easily. The only thing you need is a couple smooth jawed like jeweler's pliers, and this is basically wiper blade inserts. A lot of wipers will have a little stainless steel insert, and there just happens to be 3 widths. They're all about the same thicknesses. They're all about 29 thousandths, so they're kind of thick, but they make great wrenches, and that's what all of these wrenches right here are made from. Also, you can, you know, if you want to, I mean, they're only good for American and wide keyways, but you can actually use that stuff to make your own picks. These are in the Bogota style. This is a whole assortment of city rakes, and then there's one Bogota double hump, and there's a worm. But this is all made out of that wiper blade insert. But like I said, they're kind of on the thick. They're about 28,000, 29 thousandths, when most picks are in the 23 thousandths, 25 thousandths. European picks, they're usually 23 thousandths or 18 thousandths or even 14 thousandths because they have smaller keyways. But this stuff is really, really handy, so I highly recommend you start saving your wiper blades to make your own. And another way you can make your own is with gauge stock. This is 25 thousandths. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that's actually one of the good things about these picks. You could actually, you know, this is Dicom. It's a die. You can basically use these as templates and scratch out the design. I don't know if you can see that on there. And then you cut them out, and then with files and stuff, you know, you cut the blades. It works quite well. That's how I did these, basically. Focus. So yeah, Eastern Gauge or Eastern Industries. Get an assortment pack, and there's a bunch of stuff in there, material in there to make it. All right, so on with the polishing. I'm just going to do the one here. Set these aside right here. So what you're going to need is, depending on the type of pick you're going to start with, you're going to need some round mandrels, basically. And you know, these, you know, like this and this green one, I actually got at Walmart, and they're I think they're knitting needles. I think that's what they are. I actually got them to try to see if I could use them as fids or fides, depending on however you pronounce it, you know, for making knots and ropes and stuff. They're just too pointy, and I don't know what that is. It's just a piece of rod, but I don't know if you can notice that that's tapered or that's straight. But I dipped them in Plastidip to give them a little bit of cushioning, and so the sandpaper would, you know, grip it a little better. And also I noticed too, when the metal on metal with the sandpaper, it just doesn't cut as well as if there's a little bit of cushioning. It seems to grip and cut better, sand better, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so with this one, the W Rake, so basically you want a rod that kind of fits the profile. I don't know if that's going to come up or not, show up. Come on. Why is this not focusing? Okay, there we go. So, you know, you kind of want it to fit the profile. Now that's fits perfectly right there, but once you put the sandpaper, it might be a little bit thick. So, you know, you might, that's the reason why you might want to have several different diameter rods. And that's basically it. And then this is just a piece of flat aluminum just dipped in there. So you're going to need 400, 600. You don't necessarily need 800, but 800, 1000, and 1500. And 1500 is kind of optional too. But, you know, take your sandpaper. And I start out with the kind of the flat parts. And you're just going to take the edges off. Oh yeah, you're also going to need a book. And I chose a what is that? A Yellow Pages book because it was free. So yeah, you want to basically, you know, if you look on the edge, you're definitely probably not going to see it in the video there, but you know, there's, you know, when they cut these things out, they basically press them out. But there's, you know, a lot of like marks and stuff, and all that stuff grabs on to the pins. So, you know, you basically want to basically make it smooth. Smoother the better. I can assure you that, you know, if you take the time and sand all this stuff out, it makes a world of difference. Another thing too, I mentioned my trusty Peterson here. Like some of these more higher end ones, they don't come polished per se, but they may be pre-tumbled, which makes this job so much easier. This is definitely not pre-tumbled. This is just you know, tempered, hardened tempered, what do they call this, like feeler gauge and stuff. So it's just been, you know, pressed out, cut out with the die, and so it has a lot of die marks. It's not laser cut out like Mad Bob's. That's one thing about Mad Bob's, you know, and that's actually, now I'm thinking about it, that's a really great one to start off with if you're new to this. And I just bent that a little bit, just getting started, because it's a good value. It's like, I think $30. Comes with quite a few picks. In fact, I'll show you to you right now, kind of. Comes with quite a few, you know, wrenches and stuff too. But just to kind of give you an idea, these don't have handles, but they're very, very nice, and you have a great assortment. I prefer handled ones myself. Especially, I like the hard plastic handle ones better than any other ones. But it's just personal preference. It doesn't really make a big deal. It's just like these Sparrows have this kind of like a rubbery, it's almost like a plastic dip handle, and they're nice too. It's just I prefer the plastic ones. But definitely this will take a minute, but you know, like I said, break the corners, you know, look at it often, and just, you know, just get those marks off there. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this and I'll be back on the next step. Don't forget the tip of it, actually, the actual tip of it. You know, try to get the angle proper and just rake it across until you get it nice and smooth, and get those the tooling marks out. All right, after you do that, then you want to, that was 400, then you want to go up to 600 and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's the edge polished up. You can see one of the other ones from the kit not been touched. You know, you can definitely see a shine there, so that's what you're looking for, pretty good polish. So after that, you'll take your whatever size mandrel you decide, and just like the other one, you're going to start off with 400 and just wrap it around your mandrel. Kind of pinch it to tighten it up, and just kind of hold it on the bottom, and just do the exact same thing. Basically, you want to get all the tooling marks out, and I'm also kind of rocking it this way a little bit to try to break those angles, and I'm, you know, moving the mandrel in various directions just to break all those angles, or edges, I should say. And it really doesn't take that long. I mean, it really doesn't. So you want to do the bottom. You want to do both sides. You don't need quite as nice on the upper part or the bottom part, however you're looking at it. But definitely on the side, it's connecting with the pins. But like I said, break all those corners no matter, you know, what side it is. But put a high polish on the actual W side. Or I should say the bottom of the W side, the teeth part. Up here. So yeah, I'm gonna hit this with the 400 and finish up this polish, and then with the 600, and then I'll be back. It's not a bad idea to hit that the tooth side with a little bit of 1000 too, just for, you know, shits and giggles. Get a nice polish on all those teeth, and don't forget about the the front tip also. So I already did 400, so this is 600. And if you notice, I'm kind of going like that too to break that angle, or I should say not the angle, the sharp edge. And maybe just a little bit of 1000. And that looks pretty good. Okay, the next step is you need a book of some sort. I just chose this because, like I said, it was, you know, it's free. And what you want to do in the book is you want take a piece of 600 grit sandpaper, and this is, you know, folded in half, so the halves are about, you know, roughly 2 inches, so 4-inch piece folded in half, and you want it on the edge like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your pick and you're going to sandwich it in. You know, I've already used this area, so you're going to use a new area, so you're going to sandwich it in there like that, close the book, and you're going to press down on it with your whatever your non-dominant hand is, and you're just basically, you know, you're going to pull the pick in and out, okay? And when you're pulling it in and out, you also want to tilt it, you know, you also want to tilt it up, down, and at angles, and twist it so you can get all the corners, so you can break the corners off even more. So I'm twisting it this way and that way, and I'm bending it this, you know, this way and that way. So, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I get it done. And you know, you start off with the 600, and then the next, you know, couple, you know, halfway through the book, you put a piece of 1000, and then you end, you know, with 1500. So you can already see that, well, I hope you can see, you can already see that it's starting to polish up pretty decently, you know, just to kind of give you an idea. You see what I'm saying? How it's kind of polishing up. So that's the start. So, and it looks pretty decent. One thing, I don't know if you can see that, but one side there's a little less black than the other, and that's because I was only going in one way. So do it one way for a minute, and then flip it, and then do it again, and find a fresh piece of sandpaper you haven't been doing, and that way they get kind of even on both sides. And just kind of do that for a minute, and see what I'm saying? That sucker's getting a fairly decent polish now. And then the next one is 1000. Do the exact same thing. there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, there's no like you got to do 100 strokes or whatever. I mean, just keep looking at it and looking at it until it's at the polish that you like. I mean, you could also literally just, you know, in between the polishes, you know, get your lock and see, you know, if it's smooth enough. If you want it smoother, I mean, you can go as high of polish as you want. You know, that's what I'm saying. The 1500 is pretty much optional, because you're getting almost a mirror polish, even with the 1000, with the pressure that you're able to push on it with the book. The book really makes a difference. It makes it very quick. I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with the 15 since I've got it. See, that's a mirror polish, at least on the edges. Give you an idea. See, that's a serious polish. Okay, let's see what it does with the lock now. See how it, and that's all you got to do is you polish it until it feels good in the lock. Oh yeah, that's so much better than it was. It's not sticking nowhere near like it used to. Let's see what it'll do. See if it'll zip good. Sometimes you got to do the you know, the edges a couple of times on the teeth if it's a kinetic one like this to get. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I mean, it's pulling right out. That time it didn't because I put too much pressure on it, but yeah, that's working fine. I don't know if you can, you know, if you notice the difference in how it, you know, it's just coming right out like it's supposed to. Not the best zipper. Yeah. So yeah, polish them up like that, and these are decent. Like I said, there's a really good assortment. I mean, you know, you get what you pay for, but as far as a starter set goes, I think this is awesome. I mean, except for the wrenches, but that's not even a problem. And the reason I say that, very few lock sets come with decent wrenches. The Mad Bob, now those come with some really good wrenches. Those are some of my favorites, and the price of the Mad Bob is just is outstanding. But you know, another thing you might want to think about with these is go to the hardware store and go to Walmart and just grab a bunch of different locks. You know, master locks are probably the easiest, or no-name Chinese ones are the easiest to start with, because they're usually just 4-pin. You know, something like, even though this is a plastic lock, this is a lockout tagout lock, but it actually has security pins in it. So, you know, I mean, with security pins, you're going to do single pin picking. You know, you're not going to use a rake anyways. You're going to use these type of these feeler type picks. But yeah, I hope that helps you. Thanks. Actually, there's one more thing I was going to do. I wanted to kind of do a little show and tell. I've been doing the lock sport since my teenage years, and I haven't done it actually in the last year or so that much, but this is kind of some of the lock picks I've got. I've got quite a few. There's some of these they may look like duplicates, but they're not. Depending on the color, they're different thicknesses blades. I think I mentioned before, like American, usually 23, 2500 in that area. Unless it's a security lock, it's a little thinner. European locks are usually have a smaller keyway, and they're usually paracentric, so you need a thinner lock pick. These are basically all rakes or kinetic type tools for the most part, and these are pretty much nothing but feeler type picks and stuff. A whole bunch of homemade wrenches and stuff. But But yeah, I mean, you can go pretty crazy on the lock sport. It's just like even these jiggler type things. I bought some of these, and then I made some of these that I didn't have the right size with, and I used basically, you know, this feeler gauge stock. And by the way, that feeler gauge stock I got is I usually get stainless steel. It's a little bit more durable because of the chromium that's in it. But yeah, I don't know how many lock picks I got here, but there's quite a few, and you know, they're all a little different. This is like, you know, these are all three the same right here as far as like the tips, but they're different thicknesses. If I remember right, there's 23 is the blue, 18 of 14. And you know, you don't need all these lock picks to start out with. That's why I'm, you know, really only you're gonna realize that you're gonna use, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 or more than you're gonna use a lot of them. But that's one of the good things about this kit, is it has a lot of different stuff in it, so you got a good foundation. It even has a flag. I thought that was awesome, you know. So yeah, just don't forget about that one key extractor pick. You do not want to polish the key extractor because it's supposed to be sharp on purpose. I mean, like, it grabs your skin when you pull it. And if you look at the other, like the diamond shaped ones, it's acute. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of acute. So the one on the right looks like an arrow point, and the other one's more, you know, are more like diamonds. So just take note of that. The arrow point one, the really sharp tip one, that's sharp for a reason, so don't polish that one. All right, now I'm gone.